Thank you so much. So yeah, I'm delighted to be invited and to be here. Thank you. And as you say, we've just published a book, Maternal Journal, which kind of brings everything together from this project, which I've been running for the last 4 years. So I thought what I'd do is just give you a little bit of intro to what Maternal Journal is about and the book. So just who we are. So obviously I've been introduced, so here I am in the front, and on the left-hand side is Sam with the striped shirt, and she's co-producing the project with me. And this group here was part of our pilot group, and they're now what we call our founding mothers, and they inform the project. So basically it's very much informed by people with lived experience of mental health illness during pregnancy and birth and beyond. And it started as a group format. So we came together as a group, we journaled together, we had artists who devised exercises for us that were in the room together with us. And when we finished the exercise, we then shared everything that we'd done, and that generated a huge amount of discussion and empathy and conversation. And it's really gone from there. And this is what I call really one of our signature images. It was produced by Hannah, who was in that picture, one of our founding mothers. And it was a picture of her when she was pregnant with her second child, and then she worked on top of it during a journaling session with paint. And I think what's great about it kind of encapsulates what the project's about, really. It's thinking about these really complex and complicated and challenging experiences that we go through, most of us as a mother, as a birth parent, from the dark days with the clouds and the rain to hopefully moments of joy and reflection and enjoyment in our parenting. And so I think this is a wonderful image because it kind of shows that range of emotion and that range of experience that certainly those mothers and many others go through, and what we try to kind of explore in Maternal Journal. So what is journaling? So it might be something you're familiar with. If not, it's a kind of catch-all phrase that would include keeping a diary, a sketchbook, or some kind of regular practice. You can see the picture on the right-hand side at the top is a display of some of the journals that were created in that first group. And you can see all the different ways that people are using their journals. So from writing to drawing, using photography, collage, some printmaking as well. So it's really any kind of practice that you might do regularly. Why might journaling and creativity be good for your well-being and your mental health? So, you know, going through a pregnancy, going through a birth, becoming a parent is a time of enormous change. All the sort of physical changes we experience, emotional changes, it's a great kind of rite of passage. And so there are lots of challenges within that, but there are also opportunities for personal growth, opportunities for reflection on what's happening to you at the time, but also thinking back to perhaps your own childhood, how you were mothered yourself, the sort of fears, the expectations, the hopes you have being a parent. And so, you know, lots and lots of stuff going on. And a journal gives you that space to think about those things, to reflect on those things, to process a lot of what's going on. These images are from journal workshops, so you can see people there with small babies, people with slightly older children. It's quite a flexible format now, with people encompassing all sorts, you know, where they are on their journey in many different ways. The thing about that of coming together, particularly in a physical group or even an online group, is that you get a sense of connection with other people, you sense your community, you can reflect back to yourself, your experiences, you can listen to other people and learn from them, you can put your own experience within a wider context, within a wider cultural context. And sometimes that's so useful because we often think that we're very alone with the struggles that we're going through, but when we hear from other people and we open it up, we can actually see that many of our experiences are shared by others. The other thing that's important about Maternal Journal is we link the project to this incredible feminist history of journaling. So we might be familiar with the idea of, you know, women keeping diaries. Sometimes we even, you know, we encourage girls to keep a diary. And why is that? And it's often when we look back historically that keeping a diary or a journal was one of the acceptable ways for women to explore their creativity, also to express social and political views. So you'll see quite a lot of published diaries historically, where people were probably, in our time, they would have been writers, journalists, perhaps artists, but they didn't have access to doing that at the time. But keeping a diary was an acceptable form, and they often were thinking of the reader, and so hoping and expecting for their diary to be published. So we can link into that history and sort of feel that we're part of that continuum. And I think that gives the project a real sort of grounding. So we create these journaling guides. And what is a journaling guide? So this is an example on the left-hand side, one of our mini guides. So there's only 3 steps to the guide. So it's a creative exercise in any style, made by one of our contributing artists or other. We have many doulas, birth workers, psychotherapists, and obviously artists that create the guides for us. So it's a step-by-step way into creating some kind of journal work. This is a lovely example of how in the pandemic, the groups have become virtual, but have also exploded around the world. So this is actually a really active group in Argentina. And that's, it really exploded in the pandemic, because suddenly we could come together with people from all over the world, and that we're still keeping that thread going, as well as going back to some face-to-face groups. But what I love about this picture, as well as the fact that everyone looks happy and proud of what they've produced, is this idea that even though we're following the same guide, everyone produces something individual. And that's what's really wonderful when you come together and you share your work, as you see how everyone's experience is kind of, reflected in a different way. So as I said, we've just produced a book. I've got a copy here, and so has Sue. A nice chunky guide to journaling. So we see it as a companion. So we've got more than 80 guides in there, using poetry, writing, collage, visual art, some even sewing, where you sew through the page. So lots and lots of different activities for people to try, with over 50 people, contributors, who created the guides for us. Lovely illustrations by Merlin Evans. You can see their pot of paint there. And a little bit more of an expanded history of women's journaling, as I was talking about earlier. Also information about how to set up and run a maternal journal group, if you want to do that in person or online. And also artworks by some of the contributing artists to inspire you. So some original poems and visual artworks that really can inspire your own journaling. So thank you, and do follow us on Maternal Journal on social media. We have quite a lot of journaling events going on at the moment. I just did one earlier today with one of our contributing artists, Tourette's Hero. So if you go onto our Eventbrite, you'll see what's coming up in December. On our website, we have lots of free resources. So we've got up to 30 guides that you can download and print off and use yourself. So the book has some extra content in it, which we think you'll really enjoy as a sort of long-term companion. But we do have a lot of free resources on the website, which has been supported by the Arts Council. And if you do want to buy a copy of the book, just search for Maternal Journal book. It's on Amazon, Hive, all booksellers. And it's a lovely gift if you wanted to give it, particularly at Christmas, to anyone that you know, maybe that's pregnant or has just had a baby. But really, our groups are for any mother or birth parent at any stage in their, their journey. So sometimes we have groups that have, people with older children, grandparents. So hopefully something that everyone can enjoy.
Thanks for watching this video from the Maternity and Midwifery Forum. For more expert opinion and analysis, hit the button below to subscribe.